ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Welcome to the Roundtable. My name is Robert Bannon. I'm so excited to be here with you. If you're listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network or you're looking at my face on YouTube, it's just an honor and a joy to be anywhere. You know, fall is here. Halloween season is here. Haunted season is here. Party City is filled with ghouls, ghosts, goblins, Superman costumes, Catwomen. When did this season become a time for people to wear very scantily clothed costumes? When I was growing up in the 80s, were people dressing like this for Halloween? Well, speaking of Halloween, speaking of scary, speaking of fun, there's a show coming to Green Room 42, and we have Michael Conley, who wrote all about it. Have you ever played with the Ouija board? I remember growing up in Richfield Park, there was a guy named Jason Cerniak. He had a Ouija board. It scared the bejesus out of me. It was probably him moving it. Well, the Fabulist Fox Sisters created this idea of a séance, and there's a show about it coming to New York City. I'm so excited to be here with you because, you know, I love Green Room 42. I recorded an album at Green Room 42. It's renovated at Green Room 42. They have artisan pizza at Green Room 42. Nothing is more exciting to me than cocktails, pizza, and music, right? Well, Michael Conley is here. He's coming right over from across the pond. He's coming from the United Kingdom. He has a brand new show, September 26th, a new show for us here in the United States. It is going to be the New York debut of the Fabulous Fox Sisters. He's going to tell us all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Conley is here.
Hello.
Hello. I want your hair, Michael.
Oh, bless you. I don't know what's going on with it.
I'm trying to get it to get that high, but it doesn't do it.
It's salt spray. I've just discovered.
Okay, that's good to know. I need to know these things. With all due respect, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
What the heck is your show about? Can you tell us what is the Fabulous Fox Sisters?
Happily. So the Fabulous Fox Sister is based on the true story of Kate Fox, who, when she pretended to talk to spirits in 1848, upstate New York, inadvertently created a religion. So she and her sisters pretended to communicate with spirits by popping their toes on the floorboards of their house and convinced their family, and then convinced their neighbors, and then convinced the world that they were able to communicate with spirits. So this was the birth of spiritualism and séances and all those things that we love and hold dear now.
Well, what a perfect time as we enter this Halloween season and we end the month of September and it's fall. Your reviews are really funny and fun to me. They're great, but there's only a certain type of show would want a review that says it's brash and sardonic. How do you describe what we see on stage with this kind of a premise? Is there music? Is it fun?
Yeah, it's a musical. It is definitely a musical. So I was just going through the set list now to send to the Green Room 42. There's quite a few songs. So it's a one-person musical. It's hopefully very funny, quite dark, arch. Everything I find funny, I put in there, and I hope other people do too.
Yeah, well, Michael, are you somebody who finds the humor in this, or are you at home with the Ouija board, like calling for your long lost relatives and George Washington? And
I find the humor. I mean, the thing that most attracted to me about their story is, so basically in 1848 they created this religion. It goes all around the world, and then in 1888 they publicly denounced it and said it was all a lie, that they made the whole thing up. But people didn't believe them. People wanted to believe what they believed. And so a few years later, they needed money. So then they came back and said that when they said it was a lie, that was a lie. And it was all true. And so that, I mean, when we were going through this was definitely, in reaction to what was going on politically in the world on both sides of the pond, with people willfully rejecting the truth and just determined to hold on to what they want to believe. So I found the humor in this situation there. And, I'm not here to judge anybody's beliefs or anything like that. It's like with Noel Coward when he wrote, I've completely blanked, his seance play. I think the musical High Spirits is based on it. It'll come to me at some point. But anyway, he said it's not denouncing all spiritualists. It was just saying that this particular one was a charlatan. So
It sounds super fun. It's such a fascinating concept. It's going to be Tuesday, September 26th and Friday the 29th at 9:30 at Green Room 42. Here's the poster. And if you want to get tickets while we're here and we're talking about it, you can go to thegreenroom42.com. And even if you don't live in the New York area, you don't live in the tri-state area, there's a live stream option. It's the first time it's going to be done here, and so you need to grab your tickets and get them. It is going to be the perfect fall activity for you, and have a nice, Friday night or Tuesday night date night out and about. And have you been to Green Room 42?
I haven't. No, I lived in New York for a long time, but I left New York in 2007. Is that right? Yeah, so I've only been back a couple of times since then. And no, I haven't been since the Green Room 42 opened, so I'm very excited.
Oh, so it's beautiful. It's a really fun space and a great place to see a show for sure. Can you tell me a little bit about your writing partner? No slouch. Michael wrote this show, has a co-writer. The music is by Luke Bateman, Olivier Award nominee, has written music. What was the collaboration like to work between the two of you to take the book and the lyrics by you and then him add the music?
So we've been working together for a long time. So we first started working together in 2011. So, things are kind of down. We've got a pretty good system at this point. So with this particular show, the way it developed was very specific because our friend Adam had a new musical theater concert called Signal that was done at the H Club before that closed down. And the agreement was that we had to present brand new songs that nobody had heard from new musicals in development. And we didn't have anything in development. So I just sent a list of ideas of something to work on, and so we landed on the Fox Sisters, and then we presented a song at the very first Signal, and then we just kept coming back. It was every 3 months we would come back and present a new song because we were busy working on other stuff. So this didn't get a lot of attention, but we wrote a new song for it every 3 months. And so by the time the pandemic hit, we had about 8 songs, and I think we held on to 6 of those. So we had a good hunk of material, because usually, I always start with a synopsis and know where the story's going, just because otherwise you don't want to spend years working on something and then find out you don't know how to end it. So once that happened, then we got an opportunity to stream it over lockdown. So we finished it quickly. Most of the songs are comedy songs. So with comedy songs, it's usually lyric driven. So the lyrics come first. And then, Luke and I rarely work on a song in the same room at the beginning. We'll come back and work together, once we've each had a go at it. Luckily, we had a handful of songs and the synopsis, and then it just grew from there. If that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Exactly. I love the process and the whole art thing. I think your story and process is fascinating. Living through different years of your life, either here in the States or over in the UK. What do you think, for us Americans who live near Broadway and American commercial theater, what is the appeal? When you're in London, they say it's a little more artistic or a little bit more quirky, or they allow a little bit more experimental theater. What has it been like to create and do theater out in London?
It's interesting because my career, I was really focused. When I was in New York, I was primarily a cabaret singer-songwriter. So I wasn't really focusing on writing musicals until I moved here. So I don't really have an apples to apples comparison of what it's like to be a musical theater writer in London and New York. It's just different. It's just very different. It's the musical theater, they say it's primarily an American art form. So but the talent over here is just incredible. As it is in New York, obviously. But as I think, I think there are expectations here about what a musical should be. And so when you subvert those expectations, people get excited, I think. Versus in New York, it's thought of more as a medium than a genre, if you know what I mean. So it could be anything. It could tell any story. So that's been interesting. But then the subject matter and the sense of humor is very different over here as well. But I am, I grew up in Texas and then New York, and that's me. That's my voice. So I can't help but write with that voice, and so but it's worked out all right so far.
Yeah, you sure has. Well, as we're talking, if you want more information about Michael, you can go to www.themichaelconley, Conley, if you're listening to us.com. You're from Texas, like you just said, to New York, to London. When you look back at this journey, do you think when you were growing up in Texas, it would lead you to where it has led you? What has it been like to look back and see this road?
Oh, never. I always wanted to live in New York. That was it. That was always the dream, and I moved there, as soon as I possibly could. I always loved London, and I like traveling here. I always said I would like to live here for a bit, but that was never part of the big picture plan. But it's just crazy, when you I moved to New York when I was 20, and I look back and I can't believe how brave I was. And I think people do that. You look back at the decisions you made when you were younger, and you're like, how the hell did I do that?
Yes,
which is great. I never would have imagined. And now I don't even live in London. Now I've moved to the Kent coast, so now I live in Deal, right next to the sea. So it's just a completely different picture than I imagined.
Well, it has to be beautiful. I'm kind of obsessed with this whole idea. I think it sounds wonderful. And then you're going to hop on a plane. You're going to fly here. You're going to spend the week in New York. And we're going to get to experience this show. And everyone can experience it no matter where you are. You made a choice. And, looking at your bio and reading some of the things that you did, you hosted the Gay and Lesbian Comedy Festival. You've written a lot of things. Has it always been a part of your art form and as an artist to incorporate some of your personal life or activist things like the queer community, et cetera? Has that always been a conscious choice to live that way and be out about with your art?
I wouldn't say conscious, to be honest. Well, sometimes, usually you can't help but let those things come to the surface if you're being honest and if you're dealing with, and I'm like all art is political if you dig deep enough. And it's the same with our stuff, which is outwardly not political at all. It's just campy, fun, hopefully witty. But it's always a commentary or in reaction to something. I think it's very interesting when I look back at my musical theater writings, which again, I focus on once I moved to London more. And the early stuff was more assimilating into the world I was now found myself in, whereas now it's looking back and looking at those experiences in Texas and in New York, and those things are bubbling to the surface more. The Fabulist Fox Sister is set in New York. That's where that's where she came to, and that's where her life ended. And so it's I don't know if it's confidence or if it's just those things that you don't address at the time, and they just come up later, and they just bubble their way up to the top and find their way into the work. But I think if you've got a platform, you should absolutely use it. And whether it's just I'm working on a play now, and it's not groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination, but it just normalizes gay marriage and gay parenthood, and those it's not a protest piece, but hopefully it's doing something.
Well, I don't think it needs to be groundbreaking to be.
No, I would agree, as long as it's good, and especially if it's a musical. A good musical is groundbreaking enough.
And it's normalizing, and it's representation for people. I grew up, I never got to see the ability to see something like that on stage very, very often, and now to be able to just see relationships and family and life and marriage in all sorts of ways is really powerful. And then to see somebody do a séance right on the middle of the stage at Green Room 42, also equally as powerful.
Hopefully.
It's definitely equally as powerful. When I look here and see it's brilliant, it's eccentric, it's beguiling, it's simply fabulous, and that it's bewitchingly hilarious. How can you not want to grab a date and grab a friend and head on down?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Come on. And you can get tickets for as little as $20. Where are you going to go in New York City for $25?
I actually don't know.
Nowhere. You can't even get a hot dog and a soda on a street corner anymore, Michael, for $25. So grab your seat and come on, go to thegreenroom42.com. You can get your tickets, and it's going to be on the 26th and the 29th. Get a live stream ticket if you're in Texas or in the UK or in wherever you are in the world, to make sure you see it live as it happens on stage. Hey, maybe after you see it, some of your dead relatives will come visit you in the middle of the night. Who knows what's going to happen? Not mine. Mine can stay where you are, but yours can visit you. I'm so excited for this. Congratulations on everything. I'm so excited to see all of the work that you do, and welcome you back to New York.
Thank you so much. I can't wait.
There you go. I love Green Room. Speaking of Green Room, my album, Rewind, comes out for my 40th birthday, recorded at Green Room 42. How about that for cross-promotion? Don't get that every single day. Make sure you look for it. Get more information about me and this show at robertbannon.com. Follow us on Instagram, and make sure you're listening and watch us every single weekday, month, minute, second when we upload new content, because we always are talking to artists about art. It's always a joy to be here with you. Remember, the best is yet to come, and I appreciate every single day and second and moment we spend together. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Have a good one.